Welcome to this training video. This is a short training video on using Mac operating system, using an administration of Mac operating system. So this is Said. So you can check my websites on those things. We provide training videos in these websites. Anyway, so here I will actually show how to use Mac operating system and try to show the similarities within Windows so that Windows users find it useful or easy to use Mac operating system. Okay, actually in this particular video I will mainly focus on disk management or disk related hard disk related operations and configurations. So that will be the main focus, but in general I will provide training videos on Mac operating systems in different aspects. I think it will be a long and maybe step by step. So let's see. As I told, I will be focusing mainly on disk management and disk related operations. But other than that, in future training videos, we will be providing training on basic understanding of Mac. I think basic operations like saving file, opening file, running an application, installing application, getting around the uh, getting around Windows or test monitors or multiple screens, how to launch applications, all those things. And in this video, we also covered the user accounts and security aspects, local user account and the corresponding security. So I think this basic training video will cover this slide, the topics in this slide. So we'll have a basic understanding, we'll explain that. And also disk management will be there and user account and security, it will be there. Okay. So in future video, we'll be discussing on how to configure printers and the corresponding other as usual peripheral devices, and also setting up networking in Mac OS, but not in this video. So network services, system preferences, backup and recovery, terminal windows, these will be covered in future videos. Yeah, I think all this will also be discussed in future videos. So running Windows on a Mac, getting key Windows features will be discussed in future. Anyway, so the primary focus for this training video is disk management and maintenance. So what we'll show here is how to check the disk contents, how to view the disk contents, and how to format the disk, how to defragment disks. As I told, Mac operating system claims that they do it automatically, but this may not be 100% right. Still, it's better to defrag on your own. We will see a little bit about disk image and ISO files, how to create disk image, how to create an ISO file, and how to write ISO files into DVDs or CDs. Read, work with, and create. We will not see much, but we can just see where exactly we can configure RAID. Check disk similar to Windows. I think this is a tool provided by Apple for scan disk or check disk feature. Okay, so disk management, I think the primary tool is the disk utility. You can perform most of the disk related operations using this built-in disk utility tool. So how can you open the disk utility? So if you're a little bit familiar with Mac, so you will be you will know about the application Finder. I think if you open Mac, it will be usually in the all the docked icons, usually near the bottom, and it will be at the leftmost, the Finder icon. If you don't find the finder, hopefully if you just press Ctrl and space, and if you write down the finder, so you will be able to run the finder application from there. So anyway, if you go to finder, and then you will be seeing a applications folder, and if your applications folder will be seeing utilities, there you will see the disk utility, and by clicking on disk utility you will be able to run disk utility tool. So this is one option, just using the finder icon in the dock. And alternative, when the finder window is active, we can go to the go menu and then click on utilities, then we can run the disk utility. Okay, what about the go menu? Actually, Mac operating system has its a main menu that is always visible. Yeah, you can configure, that's different thing, but in by default it's always visible at the top of the screen. So this is the main menu, and when you run any application, the application has its own menu, but this application menu will merge into this main menu. I think from the application menu the items will come back to this main menu. So if no application is open, or maybe if the just finder application is open but others are closed or minimized, I think you can see a go menu in the main menu. You can click on the go menu, you can click on the utilities, and then you can go to disk utility. And another option to bring the disk utility is Shift, Command and U. If you press Shift button and Command button and U button, then you will find this disk utility. Okay, in Mac, I think Command, it's a new button. In the keyboard, you will see the Shift, Control, Alt, all those buttons, but this is a kind of new button in Mac. It may be equivalent to the Windows button, but I have to check. So to run the disk utility, I think another shortcut is you can just press Ctrl plus space. Then you can in the search box you can type the disk utility and it will come. I think in Windows 8 you always know that you can search application. I think the start menu is not the default thing. So the way you search applications and run in Windows 8, it can be pretty similar. I think in Windows what you do, you can press the Windows button in the keyboard and then you can type the application you want, then you can just run it. Similarly in Mac you can use Ctrl plus space, then you can type the disk utility, then it will run. And you know, in programming, Ctrl space usually is used to see the reference manual for a particular function or class or object or method. It's just a similar thing. So when you run the disk utility, it will show all of your hard drives and all of your volumes. Thing in Mac, you do not see C drive or D drive or E drive. Actually, they all are merged and are shown as folders like Unix or Linux does. But using this disk utility, you can see your individual hard drives, what are the volumes mounted on them, what are the folders. I think the main volumes you can see. And from this disk utility, uh, you can format the disk. There will be option in the format or erase option. You can use that to erase. And for partitioning, you can make multiple partition using your hard drive. And a read functionality, you can see there is a read functionality option. When you have multiple hard drives, you can create this RAID, I think, for mirroring or stripping, all those kind of things. You'll also see options to repair your disk that will scan your hard drive and it will mark bad sectors or bad blocks, if any, in the drive. And you can also restore a disk image into this hard drive. So when you open the disk utility, you can see these options there. First aid, erase, partition, read, restore, first aid. think it's about the check disk or scan disk, repairing error, all those things. Erase is for erasing the hard drive. Formatting, partition is to create multiple uh, partitions, divisions in the hard drive. Read is to create the RAID. Restore is to restore disk image into this hard drive. First 8, check disk equivalent. And for the defragment, though Mac claims that it defragments automatically, yeah, it does, but it may not be 100% sufficient. So, and no built-in Apple tool that you can run to defrag your hard drive. You can use some commercial defragment tool like iDefrag. You can also search for some open source or some free tools. Yeah, and as I told, when you have multiple drives, you can create a RAID. Can be useful for servers, but in your local site, I think for a local workstation, it may not be always required or that useful, or you will not need to use it. And for mirror option, you have mirror, stripped, concatenate. And for to read, to configure the RAID, you need to specify the block size you want. Okay, and disk images. Using the disk utility, you can also create a disk image. Disk image can be used for many purposes, like when you create software installer, it can be distributed as a disk image, and it can also be considered as a GB style. If when you want to transfer files from one computer to another computer, or if you want to give something to your friend, you can make a DMG file or disk image file with all the files folders required, and then you can transfer it. So I think disk image, you can also mount it as a disk volume. You can mount it, unmount it, like just like a disk volume or disk. So how to create the disk image? When you are in the disk utility, you can go to file menu and then new, and then go to disk image, and you can set the parameters for the disk image, name of the volume, and what kind of file system format you want. Do you want any encryption of the data? You will put in there, and image format, all those things. And after you save it, create it, and if you double click it, it will mount it. It will be part of your uh, file system, and you can browse it in the hard drive by going into the Macintosh hard drive, and it will also be listed in the list of devices. I think it will be treated as a hard disk device, and you can eject it. You can right click and clean up the image. Another thing is, if you copy to the image or if you copy from the image, you need to eject. If you right click and eject, it will get unmounted as a drive, but still it will work as a file, and double click will mount it again. I think this drive, it will be actually a file. Right click and eject will unmount it as a drive. It will no longer be treated as a separate drive or separate hard drive, like, but it can still be available to be accessed through the file system. And if you double click it again, and it will get mounted, and it will create another. It will be treated again as a drive. So as I told, you can consider it as a zip file. The TMG file or the image file can be considered as a zip file. Usually it's .tmg, that's why I'm telling DMG file. You can distribute application as image file, other computer or to your friends for download. Right click and compress. You can right click and compress the image file. And other things, if you mention that the image file size will be 10 megabyte while you create the image file, it will always take 10 megabyte of space in the hard drive. It is a good way to archive files. We can move to trash and screen, we can move the total image file to the trash. Okay, and another thing, using this disk image file, you can also make your life easier to write stuff into CDs or DVDs. So you have to create an image file, but in that case, I think instead of when you create the blank disk image, you just have to, you can mention is the type of the image you want to create. There are different options. You can use, for example, 660 megabyte CD, partition CD, DVD, TMG files. So if you select this option, it will be taking 660 by 60 megabyte space on your hard drive. Then you can copy stuff into it, and then you can write it. So you may need to format it and mount it. After creating the new blank disk image as a CD drive, you can format it, you can mount it, you can format it using the CD file system, the file system used in CD. And you can convert the file into ISO file with ISO extension. And here one thing, I think you have the option in the disk utility to create a checksum for your data in the image file. Then the receiver can match the checksum with your checksum, supplied checksum. If they match, then they can consider that the image files is not corrupted. Okay. So here is the steps to burn it to CD drive. Okay, user accounts and security for your Mac operating system. So these are the options here that we will touch on: user account, anti-malware, file vault, firewall, miscellaneous security, Safari security. So to access, to create user account or to configure user accounts, you have to go to system preferences, users accounts. So system preferences is also one of the main icon that is found the default dock at the bottom. Yeah, and you can also, by pressing Ctrl and space and by writing system preferences, you'll be able to go to system preferences. Here you actually configure all the stuff. It's not only user accounts, but your mouse, your keyboard, your display, your voice, video, everything you can control under system preferences. So here we'll just discuss about the user accounts. So when you go to system preferences, you will be seeing a user accounts options. Okay, and you can configure user account related stuff and user account related safety and security features from there as well. So here it looks like some related to, maybe not directly user accounts, but it's about the safety of a Mac operating system. So there is a concept that Mac gets less affected by virus, or uh, it's true to some extent, but the reality is there are not many viruses to affect Mac because it's new stuff. I think over time you will see more virus and malware to affect your hardware. So it's always better to have some protection, antivirus protection for your Mac as well. All the big antivirus companies have Mac versions. Apple by default does not give you an antivirus, but if you subscribe for the .Mac service, you can get an antivirus program. Anyway, so system preferences and system accounts, you can link your Apple ID into this account, and you can configure your login accounts from here. When you are here, you will see one option, login items, one of the tab like options. and you can bring up different applications, put into there and check them to run at the time you log into the system, or when you first boot the system and log into the system, these applications will run automatically. And if you want to make further changes to the configuration to your account, then you have to unlock. I think in Mac screen by default you are not allowed to change anything. So on this dialog box on this screen you will see there is a log icon at the left bottom corner. You can click on it and put your credentials, ID, password again, and then you'll be able to do most of the operations here if you have the permission for sure. Okay, so when you unlock, then you can also see that to create a new application, new user account, and you can set the user account to be administrator or group or sharing account. So when you come to the system accounts, when you go to system preferences and then go to systems and then click on accounts, the screen that you will see, it will have two options, I think password and login items. As I told from here, login items, you can put stuff there to run automatically at the time of your login. Password, you can just do password management, changing, updating, all those things. I also have to told what you can do with the login items. And at the bottom left corner you will see the lock icon. By clicking it you can unlock it by providing password, and then you will be able to create new user accounts for different purpose and different permissions. You can also set auto logins with an account, login time, so you can configure how the users will be verified at the time of login, only password, or you have to give both user ID and password combination. Okay, and how do you want to show on the login screen? I think before login screen can be configured somewhere from here. For example, you can show the uh, system shutdown related options there or not. You can configure it. When creating the new account, you can also configure the voiceover feature at login, just so that Mac will work with voice command. Do you want to activate it for this new user that you are creating or not? You can set this here. And while creating, I think there are some options to enable fast user switching. In that case, it will be easier to switch from one user to another, but there are some disadvantages because one user will be able to see the programs run by other users. Okay, for security, so user security, there is one more thing that you can configure under system preferences and then personal, and then you can go to security, system preferences, then there will have an option personal. Under that you can go to security. When you go there you will see three different tabs: general, file vault, and firewall. General, using this screen you can configure the following. You can disable auto login, password requirement, disable auto login, and password requirement if password is required for the login. If there is inactivity, after how many minutes the computer should log out the user. So do you want to use secure virtual memory or not? You can disable a remote control infrared receiver here. And you can set account type, administrator, group, or sharing. File vault is there to secure your files. You can encrypt your files. You can encrypt your individual file, individual folder, booleans, or image files. You can use file vault. Encrypt files in the home folder. You can also set master password. Turn on file vault. File vault is for local files, not for remote. Encrypt using login password. You can encrypt your data using the login password. For extra security, you should use master password. Turn firewall on. It may take some time to configure. Firewall tab. So you want to enable firewall or disable firewall, you can configure it here. If you want to allow, if you make the firewall on, then you can configure which services are allowed um, for incoming connections. You can only allow essential services. Also, from the firewall tab, you can also configure the stealth mode for your computer. What it will do, if anyone tries to connect to a computer, it will deny the connection and it will not say no or anything. It will not send back anything. It will just ignore it, drop it. But if it's not a stealth mode, yeah, probably someone will be trying to connect. They will not be trying. They will not be able to connect based on your configuration, but they will still know that there are some devices around. Safari security. In Safari, it's an internet browser built in Apple Mac, and this is one of the core component for securing your computer. You can block pop-up windows. Safari menu, block pop-up windows. So when you run the Safari menu, Safari application, then you can see a Safari option in the main macOS menu. As I told before, actually what happens is whenever you run or activate an application window, the main macOS menu, it takes some application specific menu items there. You can run those there, run this from there. So what can happen? Let's see. So you can go to Safari menu, probably have to go to the preferences. It's not directly block pop-up. You can go to preferences, and from there you can block pop-up windows. You can empty the cache. You can do it sometimes, or after browsing some sites, maybe to uh, clear your private data, or maybe if you visit some website that you do not want to keep any data on the computer, you can empty the cache. It's a good security work. You can also do private browsing. In that case, it will not be saved. In Safari preferences, you can see some autofill related option. If you can block the autofill, it's a better security option, but the thing is, it also gives you some convenience and reduces your work when you browse the internet. Safari has a develop menu. You can configure for securing sensitive activity, changing the user account, make the browser behave something differently. I think for developers, you can use this as a testing. Let's say you can make your Safari work as a Firefox or work as Internet Explorer by changing the user agent, or maybe considering it as a mobile browser and show the web page how it looks in a mobile. So using this develop menu, you can change some configuration, just like you can change the user agent. It can help the developers to debug their application, debug and test. Security tab for Safari. So in the Safari, when you go to the preferences, and then it will see a security tab. You can configure it here. You can also configure to show the local database. I think mobile applications can create some local database and how to treat them, configure them, show them or not. You can configure all those things here. Anyway, this was actually pretty basic on Mac operating system. I hope it will help the completely beginners. And if you have any concerns, you can ask questions at ask.justtc.net. Hopefully someone will answer, and we may also try to answer sometimes once in a while. Thank you and have a good day.